All right, next section we are talking about student behavior. Just at the top here, I just put in just some of our data over the past month, just a breakdown of like who's getting the referrals, what they're for, when they're happening, where they're happening, and what the motivation has been for those behaviors. So, just a quick rundown, like I said, just over the past month, so from October. A couple things that we wanted to talk about in terms of student behavior specifically. Um, this here, this student behavior matrix, is something that we've been using to start the year between myself and Brooke and Heather and anybody who's responding to behaviors. We've been kind of trying to use this as a guide, and I want to stress that this is just a guide, but just something to try to have a little bit more consistency in as far as what consequences we're assigning for students based on their behaviors. So this you'll have access to that button there on the newsletter you can click. But basically, what it does is it kind of goes through all of those different behaviors, and it breaks it down by okay, this is what type of behavior might this be? Now, this one is a little bit more elaborate, but it kind of gives a definition of what may fall underneath that definition, and then if it's a minor, it's a major. Or it's something severe, we kind of broke that out to like who generally will handle that. So if it's something green in the minor zone, a lot of times, and you guys already do this, a lot of it is kind of teacher addressed a lot of the time. Not to say that somebody else can't step in and help with that, but these would be things that are more on the less severe scale. So these would be in the green would be teacher or staff handled situations. If it's in the blue, that's something that where it may be more appropriate for Brooke to step in, maybe myself in certain occasions. And again, not to say that staff can't step in and offer these as well. And then these ones are like the big severe ones. The red pink color here are ones that would be things that I probably need to have some involvement in, whether I'm contacting families, if there's a suspension, things like that would fall under these severe categories. And so as you kind of go down through the list, it does break these all down. And again, this is a guide. I don't need you to go and study this or anything, but it is just a resource just for like, okay, what kind of consequence might be appropriate for this? What we've broken this down into. So if it's in bold, those are things that we feel like should probably happen for sure. And anything that is not in bold and that under the range of responses are other things that could potentially be consequences. And again, that's not to say that everything on this list needs to happen. That's not the intent. This is just some ideas of like these might be appropriate responses or consequences for that type of behavior. So again, it's just a guide. We have used it on certain occasions for stuff where we're just trying to figure out like what's an appropriate response, just so that we are again consistent with our response. But again, if other staff are seeing these behaviors and they want to assign some sort of a consequence, then that is there again as a resource and a guide for you to follow. But again, it goes down through all of the behavior areas that we have access to within PowerSchool when we put those referrals in. So those are there. So past that, we wanted to talk. Well, you probably are aware we've had some playground behaviors this year with just specifically around like soccer fields and kids playing really aggressively and a lot of rough play that maybe spills over into some competitiveness and some heated arguments and physical aggressions and that sort of thing. So we had some conversation about playground behaviors and again trying to have that consistency of consequences and what's appropriate. Some people may say that this is their response may be more of a reteach, but that for that same behavior, another response might be something much more severe, or this is a sent to the office kind of thing. And so just to have that consistency over what that looks like if it happens, again, this is a guide or something to kind of help with that. Again, if there are minor behaviors, and I didn't list out necessarily because it could be a whole range of different behaviors, but if it's something more on the minor end, I think the big key thing, just like any other behavior, the biggest thing that we want to see is just the reteaching of those expectations. What's the expected behavior? What's the responsible decision to make in that situation? What is the expected outcome when those things happen? So that would be the biggest thing that we want to see happen when behaviors happen, is that there's some sort of reteaching. Now, if it's something minor, there are some other things in here, but if it's a minor thing, we did talk about loss of recess. which we don't typically want to do. But if these are things that we're having to have conversations with students consistently about, minor behaviors, maybe 1 to 3 minutes, go take a seat on your spot or on a bench or something like that, and then you can rejoin. If it's something more of a major behavior, and I would say like these are, something where somebody's getting hurt, maybe intentionally, not intentionally, or these are, heated arguments. Again, straying more into like more of a major concern. Again, here's a range of things that we would, see or want to see as far as consequences go. But again, the big thing being that reteaching of expectations. And then that we talked about is, again, loss of privilege. Is that more of like maybe 5 to 7 minute range, depending on which recess is? That could be about half their recess. And then the severe ones, the big ones where there are people going out of their way to really try to harm other people. Those big behaviors where somebody has a big emotional blow up at recess. Those are ones that probably need to come into the office, and I can handle those there. And that could be, that entire recess is lost. Maybe it's even extended beyond that. But we wanted to talk through, have something a little bit more consistent. And I want to jump back to this too. We also talked about, is that something where they lose those specific activities for the remainder of recess? So it's more of a major. Maybe they're having some issues on the soccer field. They keep slide tackling people or something like that. Okay, no more soccer. You can go play, but you can't do soccer anymore. Again, just trying to get some consistency. This is just a guide, again, because every student, every situation is going to vary. But again, just to kind of have a little bit more consistency of what that may look like, we wanted to put that together. So with that, we wanted to focus a little bit on our PBIS, one of our PBIS goals for the next month. So with the PBIS team, we put together a goal here where we wanted to reduce our referrals from the playground from 25% to 20 or less. So what that means is of all the referrals that we had in the month of October, 25% of them came from the playground. So over the next month, we want to reduce that to at least 20%, if not more. Through that, with some reteaching, with some of these, maybe a little bit more clearer on some of the consequences that can be handed out there, we want to try to look at having the playground referrals drop. And as an incentive for that, if they are able to get that, meet that goal, we have gotten a Gaga Ball pit purchased from our boosters. And so basically taking us up to Thanksgiving break, after we come back the following week, December 9th, it's a pit that you can put up and take down. It's not something that would be a permanent fixture on the playground, but we thought as a reward for a playground-specific goal, we would put the Gaga Ball pit out. Now, there is a video here. If you have no idea what Gaga Ball is, there is a Gaga Ball video with another elementary school that made their rules. Now, this kind of gives you an idea what the game is. We may adjust this and have some Stewart-specific rules so that everybody has a common understanding of how to play the game. But just so you have an idea, we want to push this out in the coming weeks to students so that they are also incentivized to try to have their best behavior on the playground as well.